the unapologetic gent back again, man, ready to talk about some football. International break is closing up, and we're getting ready to go back to club football. And I've watched a decent amount of international games, and I just been thinking of some things lately about two positions that, in my opinion, have become really important in the modern game more so than they used to be, and almost, I don't want to say more vital, but like make a team perform more cohesively, more than I would say the two most important positions, you know, even 20 years ago. And I say the two most important positions 10, 20 years ago were, in my opinion, your number 9, the striker, the person who's getting you goals, and then your number 10, what is known as the trequartista, your playmaker. Those were really the two most important positions in football for a long time, and I'd say even up to maybe the last, I don't know, 10 or so years. I think Barcelona, when they had Xavi and Iniesta, kind of, I would say, was the mold in which the 10 started to phase out, even though it could be argued that both of those guys could have played as a 10. But with that pivot, and they played as 2 8s really in that Barcelona system, that's kind of what most people, the most progressive teams kind of play with now, unless you're playing with a back three like a Chelsea or, sometimes a Juventus. So that number 9, that person that could guarantee you 20, 25 league goals, is that as important now? The playmaker, the number 10, the Wesley Snyders, the Ozils, the Decos, the Raquelmes, the Joe Coles, people like that. Those days are really over. That luxury player, the Dennis Bergkamps of the world that played right behind the striker and weren't really asked to do a lot defensively, I think have kind of phased out. And I think it's because it's moving to a more athletic game. And some of that is good, and I think some of it is bad in the sense that, there's a lot of guys with pace out here that don't really have skill at play. And the funny thing is, when you look at football, Jose Mourinho is considered a defensive manager, and he's really the only person that still plays with the number 10. Really, when you think about it, plays with two kind of 6s with a 10 in front, two holding players with a 10 in front. No one else really that's a big team kind of plays like that. And I think the reason is because now your wing people, what we considered wingers before, now we're calling them inside forwards, are getting goals and creating goals. And then the modern day fullbacks, and it's crazy you say modern day because when you think of Roberto Carlos and Kaká, arguably, I would say part of the best Brazilian team, the best national team I've ever seen, that 2002 Brazilian team, they were attacking, so they were ahead of their time. And I think, the likes of Marcelo, Dani Alves, Philip Lahm, people like that took the position to another level. Even Ashley Cole, who was known more so for defense, kind of took it to another level. So I actually think that the fullback position has become more important than the number 10. The days of the 10 are over, pretty much. Like, your playmakers, you have to have fullbacks who can playmake, like a Trent Alexander, like an Andy Robinson, for Liverpool. So, the 10 has kind of limit. I think the fullback position in an elite team is one of the most important positions, if not the most important, for the balance of the team. Like, No one cares if you can defend anymore. No one cares about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Like, people want fullbacks who can go forward, who are good on the ball, who can get crosses in, and sometimes even score goals. Like, the kid Hakimi is incredible. Who PSG bought this summer for, I think, 60 million euros. Absolutely incredible. And I think Marcelo, in his prime when he was playing with Ronaldo on the left, and Dani Alves in his prime when he was playing with Lionel Messi on the right, the amount of chances they created and goals that they scored kind of set the tone for what these modern fullbacks look like. The Alphonso Davies. Now you can play Kimmich over there because he's excellent on the ball. Cancelo, guys like that. And you see a Reece James who's very good on the ball but also very defensive. So I kind of think that position has really kind of eliminated the 10 position. We don't look for creativity anymore from the 10. So we look for it from our fullbacks. And I think that's a wonderful evolution. Part of I like because it gets more footballers on the field. Like the days of a Gary Neville, a Wes Brown, some other guys who, even a Phil Neville came there. But, a lot of guys were just pretty much decent defenders who, had some stamina, could get up and down the pitch, but weren't really great going forward. The Arbeloas, those type of people. So I think it's a great evolution, and I think really if you want to be considered a quality team nowadays, you have to have two fullbacks who can play football. And I think we all remember when Manchester City bought fullbacks, then got rid of them, then bought two more because the reality is at the fullback position, you need recovery pace. You need to be a decent athlete, be able to, deal with wingers one-on-one, and you need a good delivery. You need to be good on the ball. You need to be good in possession. So I think you have to be one of the most complete players to be a successful quality fullback. And I think that position, in my opinion, for the balance of the team, is the second most position in world football, in my opinion. And the most underrated position, which in my opinion I believe to be the most important position in world football, and for me it's overtaking the striker position because we just seen that Manchester City won the league without an out-and-out striker. Chelsea won the Champions League without a 20-goal scorer. They didn't have an out-and-out striker. We saw when Liverpool won the title and then won the Champions League the following year, they had Firmino. He's really a 10. His link-up play is great, but he's not really a goal scorer. So, yeah, the number 9, it's not dead. Obviously, you'd love to have a Lukaku and a Harry Kane and these type of guys, but it's not necessary to win a league title. It's not necessary to win the Champions League. I think the position that's necessary is a defensive midfielder. And we all remember Makalele, which basically people call it the Makalele role. He was that special at it. And, he was well thought of in his time, but I think if he played today, he would get even more praise. When you look at the likes of a Makalele, a Patrick Viera, a Edgar Davids, a Roy Keane, people like that, a Yaya Toure when he was at Barcelona, he played as a defensive midfielder. Then Busquets came in, and then you look at, now the Kantes, the Casemiros, the Fabinhos. That's what sets your spine really apart. Because what that allows you to do when you have someone who's a good athlete, who sees danger, and who's good on the ball, it just the possibilities that it creates for your team are endless, and it allows you to play with attacking fullbacks because you have a defensive midfielder who smells danger, who can go help out and sit in between those center backs when play goes forward. And those guys also can pick a pass. So I think it's the most underrated position in the world, and I think it's the most important. You look at Manchester City. They had Rodri and Fernandinho won the league, and then you look at Kante, what he did for Chelsea, and then even a Jorginho who kind of plays like a different kind of defensive midfield role, where he's like a deep line playmaker, more in the mold of like a Pirlo or Xabi Alonso type of player. But yeah, man, the six, as we would call it, central defensive midfielder, CDM, I think is the most important position in world football. Because the type of numbers that Messi put up from the right and Ronaldo put up from the left showed you that you don't necessarily need a number 9. The type of numbers that Mo Salah's putting up on the right, you don't necessarily need a number 9 who scores tons of goals. We see what Young-min Son's doing for Tottenham, and the Gnabry's and those type of players, what they're doing on the wings. So the number 9 has kind of faded. You would love to have a Lewandowski, a Karim Benzema, guys like that in your team if you can get them. But I don't think it's a necessity to win the league. I think your central defensive midfielder is to me the number one, has become the number 1 position in football. If you don't have one of those, you're going to struggle with, 1, the balance of your team. 2, you're going to struggle to be able to attack. 3, you're going to struggle on a counterattack. So it's just, yeah, man, the evolution of the game has come to this, and these guys need to get more respect. Personally, I would say my favorite central defensive midfielder is Casemiro. He's tenacious. He can pick a pass. He can score a goal. He reads danger. He makes tackles. He has a high IQ. Not as athletic or as quick as, say, maybe a Kante or a Basuma or someone like that, but he's just special to me. I think his complete total package, and I told you guys before, my most underrated player in world football is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. What he does is absolutely phenomenal. He's good on the ball, good at recovering, good at shielding, good at reading the game, excellent IQ. To me, I would be looking at those type of players to be my captains. And that's just how I feel. I don't know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments. But to me, those are the 2 most important positions in football. And if you don't have those 2 positions, I think you're going to struggle. I think that's why, apart from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being the coach, I don't think most people fancy Manchester United to win because they don't have a defensive midfielder. We all see the difference of what Pogba looks like when he's playing with a real central defensive midfielder like a Kante, who is actually more box-to-box. But again, in the France team, he sits more. So, yeah, man, let me know in the comments how you guys feel. I truly believe those 2 positions have evolved as the most important positions, CDM and the fullback. So let me know. Again, the Unapologetic Gent, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Give me feedback. Love doing the videos, and I'll continue doing them and hopefully continue to get your support. Thank you so much.